Okay, give me a minute. Okay. I'm just going to confirm that we are live, and then I'll go ahead and get started. Oops, okay. Let me... Okay. It says 2nd December 2026. Please ignore that. Okay. Looks like we are live, so I will go ahead and begin the lesson. Well, hi, thank you for being here. I apologize for not being able to be with you guys live. I have a something important tomorrow morning, early morning, so I need to get up early. So I wanted to sleep early tonight, so that's why I wasn't able to be live for you guys. But hey, you have this video, and I hope you learn a lot from it. And Happy New Year, first of all. It's 2026, so it's been a year. So hope you've learned a lot, and can't wait to see what else you guys learn and how you grow. So just Happy New Year. So now let's get started with Unit 6 of English. So this unit is main idea and supporting details. So we'll go ahead and get started. And also, I apologize for putting December 2nd as the date. I meant to say January 2nd. So yeah. Okay. So first of all, just our organization objectives. Let's learn. Diksuchi is an organization here to educate your young minds and support your academic growth. Make the most out of it. We're excited to help you through this process. Diksuchi is your learning buddy. We're here to help you grow smarter every single day, and you are never alone. We learn together. We can't wait to explore new ideas with you, and every question you ask makes you stronger. So just don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you're not understanding anything completely, then that's fine. You know, you can always improve. All that matters is that you're learning and you're growing. So please try your best, and how much ever you've learned, try to keep improving on that for the next day. Set goals for yourself and try to improve every day. You might not get it today, but if you work hard, then tomorrow you'll understand it. So please don't give up and just keep learning. So the learning goals for today is to find the main idea of a story, identify the supporting details for that main idea, and to write a short summary using a simple strategy, which we will discuss. So just some tips for your success here. Like always, like we always go over, I always want to make sure I go over these before we get started, just so that you guys are 100% ready to learn and you get the most out of this experience with us. So the first tip is to always pay attention. I know it sounds so obvious, but just as sometimes you just zone out, or you just think of something else, think of what movie you watched, or think of, I don't know, what you're going to do after school. When you're in school, pay attention, stay 100% with attentiveness, and you will be good. So as long as you're attentive, then you will be able to grasp stuff. So always ask questions when you don't understand something, because that means you don't get something, and that's an opportunity for you to be smarter than you were 1 second ago. So you can always get smarter, so take every opportunity. And take notes if you have a notebook. If you don't, that's completely fine. I understand, but at home, if you want, maybe just go online and search up, how do you do this, how do you do that, and take notes. It's a great way to learn. Even if you're not going to ever come back to the notes, science shows that writing stuff down helps you learn better. And then visualize. If you're having trouble understanding what I'm saying, then try to make visual images of it in your mind and try to grasp it that way. And always practice, right? If you don't get something, instead of just moving on, spend some time on it, practice, and you'll get better. And then have a growth mindset. When you don't get stuff, don't get frustrated, and don't give up when it gets difficult, because then you won't be able to learn. So let's learn. Now it's actually time to learn. So the first thing, what is the main idea? The main idea of a text. So main idea is the big idea of the story, what the story is mostly about and what the story shows or teaches. So basically it's the overarching motif or overarching message of a story. For example, let's say you watched a movie. The other day I saw a movie. I'm not going to get into what movie it was, but it was a pretty good movie. And the big idea of the movie was about ensuring peace and prosperity for a country. So that was the main idea. And so I guess that's a single sentence. So that's the main idea, to achieve peace for a country. So the bottom note here, it says, if you explain the story in one sentence, that sentence is often the main idea. So just like I said, what the story was about, the story was just mainly about, it was just achieving peace for our country. So if that's a single sentence I use to explain the story, that means it's the main idea. So when you need to explain someone a story in one sentence, like a very brief, short sentence, that will often be the main idea of the story. So then now let's get into what are supporting details. Supporting details are small but important parts of the story, events or actions that prove the main idea, and they answer how do we know the main idea is true. So for example, in the same example I gave you in the movie that I watched, the main idea was to, establish peace for our country. So the supporting details was that the hero was constantly arguing with people, saying we need to take action when certain things happen. We need to step up the security measures and stuff like that. And we need to do peace talks. So these were some supporting details that prove the point and support the main idea, which was establishing peace for a country. So now we have how to find the main idea. So now that you know what the main idea is, well, you might be wondering, how do we actually find it? So, well, when you're reading a story or watching a movie or something, in any story, there's only the main idea. The way that you find the main idea is by asking yourself some simple questions, like who is the main character? What does the character want? What problem happens? How is the problem solved? What lesson does the story show? So the main idea I showed you guys was a very plain, basic main idea, but a true main idea in literature will be much more in depth, like all these questions, right? Like an answer to all these questions. Who is the main character? What does the character want? What problem happens? How is that problem solved? What lesson or lessons does the story show? So, like, if you take like the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf, I'll give you guys just 1 minute to try to make up a main idea for that story. And no worries if you didn't watch or read that story. That's fine. I will go over what that story is and then the main idea for it. Just take a moment to think about it. Okay, so now I'm going to go over what the story was. So basically, there was this big bad wolf who came and he blew down the houses of 2 little pigs. And then the third pig, when he went to the third pig's house, the third pig's house was made out of brick, so he couldn't blow that pig's house down. So then what he did was he blew and he blew and he blew, but he couldn't blow it down, so then he went away. So I guess the moral of the story here Everyone has their own interpretation, so I'll give you my interpretation. Doesn't mean that it's necessarily right, but it means that, sorry, excuse me, give me a minute, I have to, okay, so basically what it means is that, okay, so basically it's the message, the main idea or message that I got from that story was that the big bad wolf, he can try to be a bully when he wants to, right? But when he can't be a bully, he's not capable of doing it. He ends up, like, failing at what he tries to do. So maybe my interpretation of the lesson here is that just because you win once doesn't mean you'll win every time. So basically, just summarizing everything that happens, who is the main character? Let's say the big bad wolf is the main character, just for the sake of my interpretation. What does the character want? What problem happens? How's the problem solved? And what lessons does the story show? In one sentence, I could say the main idea of the story is that just because the wolf was able to win once doesn't mean that the wolf will be able to always be in triumph, right? So that's just my interpretation of the story, and that's the main idea I came up with. Need not mean that it was 100% accurate, but that's my interpretation, right? Stories have multiple interpretations, but as long as you're answering these, as objectively as possible, that's all that matters, right? Interpretations differ, but at the end of the day, it's these main points that that you need to be addressed. So here's a read aloud story, and then we'll go over an actual, like a real robust explanation to it. So the story is The Forgotten Lunch. So Jason forgot his lunch at home, right? And he sat quietly while others ate, and his friend Mia shared her food with him. And Jason thanked her and promised to share his food with her the next time they ate. So this is the story. Give me a minute. I have... Yep, all right. So just checking on time here. So, okay, we're going to skip this video for now. We'll come back to it. But yeah, so thinking about the story, now let's think about this step by step, answering the questions. The main character is Jason. What the problem was that he forgot his lunch. And what happened? Well, Mia shared her food with Jason because he didn't have any food, so she was just being nice. And the ending, Jason promised to share his food with her later. So the main idea here that I get is that, well, what's going on, like, in the story? What is the story is that, when in one sentence, I guess, when what's her name, Mia, when Mia is nice to Jason, Jason reciprocates that. So basically, the good that you put in the world may come back to you, or like kindness and sharing make a difference. So the supporting details was Jason had no lunch, Mia shared her sandwich and apple, and then Jason thanked her and promised to share next time. So it's showing that the kind and sharing act of Mia helped Jason, and that made a difference because now Jason is willing to help Mia the same way in a situation that she needs help. So this just shows, the main idea. And this is just a quick guided practice story that you guys can do as well. I'll give you a minute to actually do this on your own. We did the last few together, the main idea and supporting details. So just to recap, main idea is the main summarized message in one sentence of what happened, what's the overarching message of the story. And then the supporting details are the specifics within the story beyond what that message was. So if you have a story saying kindness defeats, let's say, jealousy, then like maybe in the supporting details you say maybe the main character was kind, and as a result of kindness he was rewarded with let's say gold, and then the antagonist, the bad guy, was jealous of the good guy, but he wasn't rewarded. Instead, he had his gold taken. Just this is just an example story. So basically, this is supporting details that prove the main idea that that kindness beats jealousy. Um, so let's go ahead and read this story real quick. So, story: Anna's art project. Anna worked hard to win an art contest. Another student spilled paint and felt nervous. Anna helped him and shared supplies, and Anna didn't win, but she felt proud. So, this was the story. Now, I'll give you guys 1 minute. I'll count 1 minute, and then we'll see what you come up with for the main idea and the supporting details. Now, you can read this again if you would like, and in a minute, we'll regroup. And just in your head, come up with what you think is a main idea. Maybe if you want to share with your classmates and come up with the main idea together, up to you, completely up to how you want to make it. But we'll regroup in 1 minute, and I want to go over what the main idea was and what the supporting details were. Okay, I think that was more than enough time. Hopefully you got your main idea and supporting details down. So now let's go over what they actually were. The main idea is helping others is more important than winning. And how did we come up with that? What were the supporting details? Well, Anna helped clean the paint, right? And then she shared her supplies. And she felt proud even though she lost. So even though she didn't win, right? She felt good and proud, and she didn't feel like a loss after she lost. Even though she lost, she didn't feel like she was at loss because she felt very proud of her generosity. So that comes to show that helping others is more important than actually winning, because she didn't feel sad that she lost. She actually felt proud because in losing she actually helped others, which was actually the main idea of the story. Helping others is more important than winning, right? Now, independent practice that we'll do. This is just a quick story, and then you guys can think about it. What is the main idea? Which details support it? And by now, you should have a very strong idea of what a main idea is and what are supporting details. So, Lewis missed the bus helping his sister. He arrived late to school, and the teacher understood and thanked him. Okay, so basically, let's just understand what's going on here. So, Lewis, he missed his bus, so the bus left without him. But he was helping his sister. That's his excuse for missing the bus. So he had to go to school late because he was busy helping his sister. So he couldn't make the bus. And the teacher understood that, okay, he helped his sister. That's a good thing. And she actually thanked him for that. So what is the main idea? The main idea that I could come up with is sometimes it's okay to break rules if it means to do good. So maybe doing good or helping others is more important than following, strict rules that are enforced on you. So maybe going to school was that rule, right? That's my supporting detail. There is a rule that you need to be to school by a certain time, right? But he didn't obey that rule because he was busy, helping others and being generous. So but the teacher, instead of scolding him, he was actually rewarded with a thanks, right? The teacher didn't punish him, for coming to school late. Instead, the teacher said, "That's a very noble cause that you did," right? So those are the supporting details that that prove that helping others is more important than following strict rules. Maybe, right? That could be the main idea of this story. So now that you got an understanding of that, let's quickly go over what a summary is. So a summary is a short version of the story. So it uses your own words and includes main character, problem, important events, and the ending. And it leaves out small details, right? So basically, the summary is just, kind of like the main idea, but prolonged in a way, or basically like multiple sentences, not one sentence. So the main idea, would be the overarching message of a story, whereas the summary of a story would basically be the story, but condensed. So a condensed version of a story. For example, if you have an hour-long movie, instead of having, that hour-long movie, you could maybe, instead of having every scene, like when the hero is washing his hands, or maybe, there's a song here and there, or maybe there's a lot of extra lines, in that the important ones can be very few ones, right? So you could just summarize the story like, okay, the hero did this, then this happened, and then that happened. And you can make the story into 4 sentences, like, cutting out all the unnecessary details or details that might, lengthen the story unnecessarily. So you leave out the small details and you just come up with, the main character, the problem, the main important events that are needed, and the ending, and make it into a short, maybe, some summaries can be 3 sentences, some summaries can be maybe 8 sentences, it really depends on how long the story really was. But basically a condensed version of a story. So this is called the SWBST strategy that helps you organize a summary. So basically the S stands for somebody, the W stands for wanted, the B stands for but, and the S stands for so, and the T stands for then. So basically somebody wanted but so then. So the somebody is who is the story about, so the main character. The wanted is what did they want? What did the main character, want, or what was their objective? And then the but is what came in that way, right? What was the problem that occurred that maybe prevented the main character from achieving what they wanted? And then the so is, well, what did they do in order to, super that problem, or get over that problem, right? And then the then is how did it end, right? What was the result of the main character's attempts to, override the problem? So this is the SWBST strategy, and I actually have a video here for you. I accidentally put it way back here, but just before we go over the video, just want to make sure that this is out there. This video is from a nonprofit organization called Khan Academy. So basically they make like content for learning purposes, and this video is under the YouTube standard license and also a Creative Commons license, but that is just under the Khan Academy site. But here we have access to the YouTube standard license because it was uploaded on YouTube. So just wanted to make it clear out there that we have the right to, include this video here for our purposes. And yeah, so this video will go over, what SWBST is and how to actually use it.
Readers, hello. Have you ever struggled to summarize a story? Well, friends, I'm coming to you today with a sensational new thought technology, and by Jove, has it ever got a catchy name. It's Swoops. Okay, maybe not the easiest to say aloud, but it's the best we've got because it's a very useful tool to summarize what happens in a story. Swoopst. Swoopst stands for someone wanted but so then. You see, swoopst. It's basically an easy way to figure out what the most important parts of a story are, who the main character or characters are, what they wanted, problems that got in their way, what they did about it, and what happened as a result. I know what you're thinking, but David, how does it work? Great question, readers. You can use the Swoopst on any story at all. Don't believe me? I'll prove it. But first, we'll need a story. Once upon a time, there lived a little gnome in the woods named Arabella, who wanted nothing more than to live by herself and eat the onions that she grew. But one day, a crow came to Arabella and said, "Hey lady, there's a problem with the onions." This was how Arabella learned of the onion blight. It was a terrible disease that caused nearly everyone's onion crop to turn to dust in the fields. Arabella put on her backpack and journeyed into the Danger Lands. There she faced down Lord Nasty, who had come up with the evil spell that was ruining all the onions. She told him, "Knock it off, or I'll turn you into a bug." He refused to stop the onion blight, so she turned him into a bug. The onion blight went away, and Arabella returned to her home in the woods once more, and ate raw onions to her heart's content. Now that we've got our story, I'm gonna swoopst. Someone wanted, but so then. Someone, well, that someone is Arabella, our gnome hero. Wanted. What did she want? She wanted to be left alone and eat onions. But her peaceful life was interrupted by the arrival of the onion blight. So the onion blight came. So what'd she do about it? So she went to the Danger Lands to stop it. Then she defeated Lord Nasty by turning him into a bug and returned home to the woods. You see? Swoopst. Gosh, it gets easier every time I say it. The last step in summarizing a story is to take the information from your swoopst and write it out in complete sentences like so. Arabella wanted to be left alone and eat onions, but the onion blight came. So she journeyed to the Danger Lands to stop Lord Nasty, who had caused the blight. She defeated him and returned home. If you want to summarize a story, just remember to swoopst. You can swoopst anything. David out.
Okay, so that by now you should have a very solid understanding of the SWBST strategy for summarizing a story. So I'm not going to go over a model story right now, but we'll go over the model summary. Yeah, so we don't have to do the SWBST part just now. I'll just basically summarize it because I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, and then I'll just explain how I got the summary. So basically, a model story, Leela's lemonade stand. So Leela wanted money for a book, no customers came. She made a better sign and gave samples, and customers came and she reached her goal. So let me just maybe reword what happened. Leela wanted a book, so she needed money for that. And she made a lemonade stand so that she could get money, but no customers came to her lemonade stand. And she decided, okay, maybe I'll create a better sign so that I get more customers. And it worked, and then she got more customers. So this is just, a standard story. And actually we do have time, so I'll go over the SWBST part. So basically the somebody here is Leela. The W, the wanted part, is she wanted to earn money for a book. The B is but no one came. She had no customers to actually fund her expense of the book. So what did she do as a result? The so part, the S part, she made a new sign and gave samples. So with this new strategy, what happened then? So the T part, the then, she earned enough money to actually buy the book. So that's the resolution. So the summary would be basically this whole SWBST, little chart here. It would be that summarized into a short paragraph. Leela wanted to earn money for a book, but no one came to her lemonade stand. So she made a new sign and offered free samples. Then she got customers and reached her goal. Notice how I put keywords here like so, then, wanted. This is to, indicate the structure of what's going on. So the so indicates that that's the solution. The then indicates that that's the resolution. The wanted indicates that that's the objective. The noun here, Leela, indicates that that's the main character. So this is a very, simple yet effective way, the SWBST strategy, to summarize a text. So that was a lot. We're done now. I hope you guys really enjoyed. Sorry I couldn't be, live to answer questions that you had maybe on the Zoom call, but for sure for the next time I will answer any questions you guys have. Hope you guys learned a lot. And also sorry for small delays. I was receiving some messages about my event tomorrow, so I had to tell them that I'm in the middle of a meeting, so or not meeting, this presentation, so they can't message me because it was nonstop. But yeah, so we're done. Hope you guys really enjoyed. Hope you learned a lot this session about summarizing a story and main ideas and supporting details. Just a quick wrap up. Main ideas tell you what the story is mostly about. Supporting details prove that main idea. A summary includes only the most important parts of the story. And the SWBST strategy helps organizing the summarization thinking. Good readers understand the big idea and not just the details. So yeah, thanks for being here. And I really, really appreciate you guys, putting in the efforts to learn. And hope you enjoyed today's lesson and can't wait to learn more with you guys in the future.